Hello, this is Danielle Burnock from danielleburnock.com. Love yourself from Survive to Thrive, that lady on the internet who loves you. And want to ask you, are you feeling aimless? This past year and a half, almost going on 2 years, we're getting there pretty quick since this whole pandemic thing took place, all of the racial things that have taken place, all of the political things that have taken place, what's happening in Afghanistan, and I mean, I can just start naming things all over this whole world has unleashed trauma on us, and it can make us feel stuck or aimless. Aimless is when you don't have direction, and we can just get stuck in our feelings and stuck in the what ifs and stuck in the what's going on in the world and what's going to happen, and we can just get stuck in fear, and then we have no direction. We lose our sense of purpose. And so I want to talk to you today about that and how to reclaim your mind, because that all is what takes place when our mind becomes aimless, because the trauma just inundates us. And our mind is going over here, and our mind is going over there, and our mind is wandering into, oh my goodness, what was going to happen? Oh, wow, did you see what happened? Oh, wow. And our mind just gets away from us. And so I want to share with you from my book about owning your mind, because aimlessness can be gotten rid of out of us if we will take ownership of our mind. And so chapter 9 in my book, Because You Matter, is titled Owning Your Mind. And so I want to share a little bit with that about you so you can get rid of aimlessness and take ownership of your life, your mind. Take your life back, take your mind back, because your mind is stronger than your brain. Your brain is the organ inside your body, but your mind, that's where all the thoughts go, and that's what you have control over, what you put in there, what you allow to stay in there. And I love this quote at the beginning of this chapter, is your mind is your instrument. Learn to be its master and not its slave, by Remez Sesson. And it's taking ownership of your mind is extremely important, and there are little sections in this book. And this first one is about perceptions, because Dr. Gabor Mate, he says that, and it's so true, that we don't respond to what's happening. We respond to our perception of what is happening. And I learned that writing my first book, Emerging with Wings, except for I'm not a doctor, and I didn't say it in such a fancy term as he did, but I said perceptions are real to the one in the experience, but he said we operate from them. And so I have a section in here called Own Your Perceptions. They might be lying, and help you to take a different look at your perceptions to see, are they accurate? Are they correct? And then you can own what you're perceiving on purpose instead of just letting it float in there from whatever's going on around you. And the next section on here is own your mindset. You can rise above the negative. See? And I have the quote here by Joyce Meyer of, you cannot have a positive life and a negative mind. And I learned about mindsets from Joyce Meyer. She has a book called The Battlefield of the Mind that helped me to take ownership of my mindsets. Mindsets are those thought patterns that we learn, and they like build like a building, so that when someone says something, you react with this over here, because that mindset was already there. You didn't think your way to get to where you had that reaction. You had a mindset. And so that section in here will help you to own your mindsets, and you can change them. If you find you have this mindset, this happens, and you find yourself in an emotional place that you don't want to be, you can change your mindset. It takes some work, but you can do it. I believe in you. And the next section is own a larger view. Our perspectives are skewed, and that's so important, because our perspectives are ours alone, but we need to realize we're not the only one who's seeing what we're seeing. Imagine someone standing, or imagine a mountain, and people all around the outside of the mountain, they see that mountain in a different way, and none of them are wrong. but they have their perspective. And so we have our perspective, and we need to enlarge our view to include other people's perspectives, because it enlarges our life. It gives us a better life. It's how we can take ownership of it. And the next section is own your questions. Answers are available. I got to share this quote. I love this. This helped change my life, because the childhood trauma in my life made me afraid of questions, because I was shut down from asking questions, because my parents thought that was rebellious when I was why and what and that. And there's a time when children are being that way, but I had my questions squelched out of me. And I love this quote by Sam Williamson. He said, "Questions are the tools of the explorer. They are the treasure maps and flashlights of the heart hunter. By them, we find the trails and tunnels into the inner life of another human heart." Isn't that beautiful? They're asking questions is such an awesome way to discover things and to learn about people and get to know other people. And the next section is own your curiosity. Questions are how we learn. Being curious. We ask questions because we want to find out. Curiosity is such a gift that God has given us. And Walt Disney has this quote of, "We keep moving forward, opening new doors and doing new things because we're curious. And curiosity keeps leading us down new paths." It's so awesome. Curiosity is a wonderful thing to cultivate. It helps us to connect with others better, because we can be curious about our differences and not be judgmental or critical. We can be curious, and then we can learn about one another. And that's how we can take ownership of our mind and get rid of the judgment out of there and get rid of the condemning things in there, and maybe even the fear, because you don't know another person. You don't know how they're thinking, what they are, what they're like, what they think is so unfamiliar that it creates fear in you. But curiosity can help you take ownership of that part of your mind and have a different relationship with people. Also, own how you see yourself. It says here, "How can I believe there's a butterfly inside you or me when all I see is a fuzzy worm?" Trina Paulus. Owning how you see yourself. Trauma strips people of their value, and we tend to look at ourselves as less than what we are. I mean, how many times have you berated yourself, called yourself stupid, or you're fat, or you're something negative, whatever it is. You're too fat, you're too tall, you're too old, you're too young, you're too whatever, but you're beautiful. You're a creation of God, and He loves you, and I love you. And so to own a new view of yourself as a masterpiece. And then also in the owning your mind, I have own your finances. This book is not a book on finances, but finances is a real important part of our life, so I couldn't leave it out. Because wealth begins in the mind. It's not about money. It's about how we think it. We have to own our mind. Because have you read stories about people who have won the lottery and a year later are homeless? That's because they didn't own their mind. The money just carried them up, because money is a tool. It reveals what's in you. It doesn't create what's in you. It reveals what's already in you. So own your mind and own your finances by owning your mind. And the next section is own your instead and change your life. The power of instead is in Because You Matter more than once. I think it's like maybe even 3 or 4 times, because the power of instead is how we change our life. It's in here is the story of the computer, how we change computers, how we get rid of a computer. If you have a computer and you want to get rid of your computer, you wipe it clean, right? Then you throw it away, or you recycle it or whatever. It's not clean when you do that. The only way to get whatever is on your computer off of it is to rewrite over the top of it. And that's what we need to do with our minds. Because we have mindsets, we have thought patterns, we have limiting beliefs, and the only way to get rid of those is to write a new program over the top of them. And you can do that with this book, Because You Matter, How to Take Ownership of Your Life So You Can Really Live. Get yourself a copy, buy a copy for a friend, go through the book together. And I'm busy creating a course to go along with that so that you can do it more in depth because I love you. I'm that lady on the internet who loves you because I do. I love you. And so until next time, I love you.